Welcome to the Confessions of a Group X Instructor podcast. For group exercise junkies and enthusiastic classgoers, we'll explore and uncover authentic, thought-provoking, and heartwarming industry education and inspiration from entertaining, badass fitness pros. And now your host, creator of Warrior Rhythm, Warrior Strength, Warrior Combat, Warrior Revolution, and Warrior Kids Group fitness brands, Ellen DeWord. Here we grow.
Welcome, everybody, to Confessions of a Group X Instructor podcast. Today, Fig, my new puppy, who you might hear from today, and I have my friend Amber on as a guest. Hi, Amber.
Hi, Ellen. How are you tonight?
Well, it's not night yet here.
I know.
Well, it's getting to be night. I'm still drinking coffee.
Wow. Well, remember, we're 3 hours apart because I'm in Florida.
I know. That's why I'm saying it's still like coffee time. It's not yet wine time. So, it's so nice to have you. Would you tell our amazing audience a little bit about yourself, other than that you're tuning in from Florida?
Oh, well, first off, I wanted to say thank you, Ellen. When you said, "Oh my gosh, you should be on my podcast," I almost fell out of the chair. I don't know if you knew that or not. I tried to play it cool, and calm. I was like, "Oh my God, she just asked me to be on her podcast." So I felt very honored that you would ask me to be a guest on here, and I appreciate that so much. And just a quick little story about you and I. So Ellen and I met through SCW. We both present for that fitness education company. And I remember the first time I saw you and I was like, wow, who is this chick? And we ended up being on that panel together. And I was sitting there. I had not spoken to you at all. And I'm sitting there and you're talking and I'm looking at you and I'm thinking, this girl really knows her stuff. I was so impressed with you and your knowledge. And the next show, I will never forget you coming out of the airport with 3 rolling bags. One of them's bigger than you are. Like you could fit inside that one huge bag you have. And I looked over and I'm thinking for sure you had somebody with you. Nope, Ellen's just dragging all her stuff with her. And I was like, this girl needs an assistant because this is way too much stuff for her to be dragging along.
That is so funny. And you just that's my biggest nightmare, is that I'm going to run into someone at the airport for so many reasons. But for one, I don't travel cute. I mean, I do if I'm going on a vacation. I don't know why, but if I'm going on a vacation, like a Fit Bodies trip or something, I'm going to Mexico or something, I like to look cute and feel cute on the airplane and feel cute when I'm getting off the airplane and stuff like that. But when I am traveling to running the fitness convention, I'm doing a lot of trying to be cute when I'm there, like a lot of eyelashes and makeup and hair and extensions in my hair, even, super power ponytails and stuff. So I guess it's I just kind of want a down day of no makeup, glasses. And because I live in a small town, there's an airport here that doesn't really fly direct to any major city that we ever go to. So I always have to puddle jump from our little airport to a bigger airport in LA or Seattle or something to go to wherever I might see you, for example. And so because of the extra flight, I always have to get up at 3:45 in the morning. And I don't even go to bed until 1 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock in the morning. So I get no sleep. I'm not a morning person. And I just sometimes I sleep. Okay, I can't believe I'm saying this to everybody on the show, but often when I'm about to go to a conference, I'll put on, as I'm going to bed, instead of pajamas, I'll put on Lululemon leggings and a hoodie and go to sleep in my clothes. And then I get up at 3:45, brush my teeth. Well, sometimes I don't even do that. Sometimes I do that at the layover. In Denver airport, I brush my teeth so many times in Denver airport because that's the United hub. I've brushed my teeth so many times there and put my contacts on because I roll out of bed and go. So anyway, I'm not pretty. The last thing I want to do is run into any other presenter, especially ones that I don't know and I'm trying to make impressions on. And like you said, I've got 400 bags, and that's because I'm setting up a booth. People don't understand. They see me. Sorry, I'm hijacking your podcast and talking too much, but People see me with all those bags and they think that that's like my hair dryer and 18 pair of shoes and all these outfits. It's a booth. I have to set up a booth. So it's tablecloths and banners and yoga mats and all kinds of like marketing materials. And so anyway, people, if you ever see me looking like homeless at an airport with 18 suitcases bigger than me, it's not fun. And I do need an assistant and I hate it. And I'm like, please don't run into anybody as I walk into the hotel, head down. I like don't even want to wear warrior stuff because I don't want people to like associate my company with how like haggard I look. But then anyway, that's sorry that you had to see that.
No, I just felt badly for you. I wanted to help you with all those bags. I couldn't believe you were taking that all by yourself. That's crazy.
I figured it out, man. I figure out how to like stack them all up and oh my goodness, I've broken so many fingernails trying to bring those around. That is a funny story, and thank you for the compliment that was in there in the beginning. Yeah, I've really enjoyed getting to know you a little bit, and I knew right away I wanted to have you on my show because I'm so impressed with what you're doing with the training tool, which I'm sure we're going to get to. So, wait, did you finish telling us about yourself, or did I
No,
hijack?
I was talking about how we knew each other, but I will tell you a little bit about me. I'm originally from a really small town in Georgia called Vidalia, and I went to Georgia Southern University. I have my degree in physical education and health, so I actually was a high school teacher for 8 years. But as we start to talk about my story, and because this is about dreaming big, I will tell you a lot about where I started and where this came or where I am now, how this came to fruition. But I always loved fitness. I started out in fitness in high school, and it was just something that I knew that I wanted to be a part of. So I do use my degree for that, yes, but I did use it for teaching for 8 years. But that is something to keep in mind. My background is education. It's not business. So when we talk about business today, I will share with you many of the things that I have learned because I did not learn that in college. That was called real life. This is where I learned that was creating a business.
Oh, interesting. I can't wait to hear your story. And I love this topic about chasing your big dreams. I cannot wait to hear like how you have done that in your life. I can see that you've done that. I just can't wait for you to thread it all together and tell us your story and teach us. But I too, I did not graduate college. I didn't graduate college. You did, and didn't use the degree for what you're doing now. But it is amazing. Like I run a business, an international business, and like learned by, Google, YouTube, asking questions, reaching out to people, failing, trying. So it's interesting. Like life is its own school. Anyway.
It is. I agree. Yes. And I mean, you're the perfect person to talk to about building a business because look at what you've done. I mean, you have an amazing company yourself, and I'm always quite impressed. And I always love just the pictures of you and your team. I mean, you guys always look like you're having such a great time.
We are always having such a great time. It's true. And I hope I remember to circle back to you talking about the pictures of me and my team. So I'm going to put a little mental note to circle back to that when we get deeper into your story. So yeah, how come you wanted to talk about this and take us there?
So I really, you and I chatted and we talked about what could I talk about? And there are so many different rabbit holes I could have gone down. But I think when it comes to talking about something that could help other fitness professionals, this is a great thing to go through and for me to share some of my experience with your listeners, because I am sure that there are many fitness professionals out there, or maybe somebody who wants to become a fitness professional that has a big dream to do more, but they don't really know how to get there and they don't have the support that they need to get there. And that's really how I can talk to you about my story. So I told you that I got into fitness when I was in high school. I was 16 years old. I worked at the local gym in Vidalia, and I was the front desk girl. And lo and behold, one day back then we were called aerobics instructors. So the aerobics instructor was sick or couldn't make it or something. And so Miss Diane, who was my boss, who owns the place, said, hey, we need for you to teach a class. Now, Ellen, let me just tell you, those people deserved their money back after I went up there because I had no idea what I was doing, and I just went up there and did stuff. I don't know. I was a cheerleader in high school and I knew some stuff to do, but not really the things that I needed to do. But it started a love there.
Wait, time out. You were front desk girl. Were you taking class? Had you ever taken a class? Had you been taking?
No, probably not, or maybe one or two because I was lazy.
Did you just do like step touches or squats or like jumping jacks? Like, what do you mean?
I think that's what I did. And I think that I just got like used to the step. I remember they did step aerobics. I think I did some stuff on the step. I honestly have no idea what I did, Ellen, but it was ridiculous, I'm sure.
So fun.
Nothing like how I teach now, right? So that started a love with me, though. And when I went to college, I actually went to it was called the RAC, the Recreation Activity Center. I went to them and I was like, hey, I've taught aerobics. I want to teach. And they were like, you have to have a certification to do that. I was like, certification? I knew nothing about that. But that is where they sent me. I got my group exercise certification through AFA. And that's where I began to learn and to take more classes. And I was teaching in college. And one of the things that I discovered is no matter where you go, gyms, places always need Group X instructors. Doesn't matter. You'll always have a job because they're always in high demand. I mean, I know I have a studio now and we need people. So it's something that even if it's a side job or something you do for fun, it's definitely something that you can have to do no matter where you are. So my love just grew. And even in high school and even when I was in college, I remember saying, I want to own a gym. And my grandmother was like, that's not a job for a girl. And I did not get that support from my family, and so I didn't really build on that dream that much because I wasn't really getting the support. And I thought, okay, I have to go. And, I did always want to be a teacher and a coach. And I was just like, well, this is my path in life. This is what I need to do. And I never left fitness behind. I always taught classes no matter where I was. And then I started teaching high school. I moved to Florida, started teaching high school here. And I just knew I loved teaching for the first 5 years. And then after that, it kind of started to go downhill. And I was like, I don't want to do this the rest of my life. Well, I had already been teaching Group X at local gyms. And then I decided I need to get my personal training certification. And it was so funny because I could not think back then. I was like, how do you do this with one person? Like, I'm used to standing in front of a group and doing it with them and teaching spin and doing all that stuff. And then I just could not wrap my mind around one-on-one personal training. It would just seem so different to me. So I hired a personal trainer and worked with him for many years on and off, actually. And then just to kind of see what it was like. And then I got my personal training certification in 2002. And that's when I started the Training Toole. So I was a teacher and a coach. Okay. So I would train people before school. I would teach school. I would coach in the afternoon. And then I typically would train people at night after I coached.
So totally exhausted?
Oh, yeah. But I knew I wanted to do that. And that really
keep going. I'm going to plug my Diva light back in because the puppy unplugged it. Hold on.
Oh, plug your Diva light back in. Please do. and so the thing is, I was like, I know that this is what I want to do. So when I made the decision to stop teaching high school, it took me a while. I mean, there was a moment in time where I was like, I don't know what I'm doing with my life, but I knew in my heart I needed to quit teaching. I didn't want to do it anymore.
Were you afraid of the loss of income or the temporary loss of income? That was hindering you?
That and And just knowing, as a teacher, you have benefits, you have insurance. I got a paycheck every 2 weeks, even though it wasn't, that big. I at least had that consistent pay. But I started looking at what I was making as a personal trainer. And I thought, okay, if I didn't teach during the day and I did personal training all day, I could make this money, but I have to have the clients. And that was where I was really kind of taking the shot, shooting my shot there, because it could have gone very badly. And when I told my parents, when I told them, they were like, what are you going to do for insurance? What are you going to do? Like, you get a steady paycheck. And so then they kind of stressed me out, but I knew I'd already made up my mind and I was doing it. So once I get to that point, I'm just going for it. And thank God it worked out for me. So I was training people in home. So I was a traveling personal trainer. So I didn't have an overhead. And then I worked.
You just would drive to their houses and like bring equipment in the back of your car.
Yep, I have had equipment in the back of my car for over 20 years now. And so I would just go to their homes. I would go to their offices. I did outdoor training in local parks. And even at the high school where I taught, they let me run a boot camp out there for many years. And then that will lead us to how I got to opening an actual brick and mortar because of what happened at a local park. But I just did that for many years and I built such a base of clients. I mean, I have clients who have been with me almost since the beginning. I have a few. They've gone left and come back, gone and left and come back. But for 20 years, I have some clients who have been with me that long on and off. So I have great consistency with my clients. And then every summer, I ran a boot camp. All right. And then one summer, in my lovely town where I live now, I live in Ocala, Florida. I was out at one of the local parks, and then they started coming after me and they were like, you have to fill out this paperwork and you have to get a rider on your insurance for us and blah, blah, blah. And then you have to pay us a percentage of what you're making. And I was like, wait, time out. Like, my boot camp is one of my lowest cost offerings that I ever had. And I'm like, what am I paying for? Like, the bathrooms aren't even open when we're out here. So they kept like chasing me down that summer. And then they finally brought the police officer with them. And I'm like, oh, no, I can't go to jail. Like, this is
I can't go to jail. Oh my gosh, the police came after you. I love this story. It's getting really good. I thought, and plus I think they were I thought you just have to pay a permit to use a park. Or was it at a school? It was a park? It was a school.
This was at a park. And
they wanted a percentage of your profits. Come on now. That's a hustle.
Yeah, right?
You just have to get a permit to teach at a park. That's how it is here.
Yeah. And
wow, the police came after you.
Please give it. You should have seen all my ladies. They, so many of them have been with me for so long, and they're like, Amber, it's a police officer. I said, no, I'm not going to jail. I'm telling you that right now. So
that's when the seed was planted to open your own studio. You hadn't actually thought about it until then?
It kind of crossed my mind, but I did not think that I wanted that stress or the overhead of a brick and mortar.
Yeah.
And it was just like, So I was married at that time. I'm still married, but when this whole thing happened, my husband has his own business and he and his business partner rent half of a building. So I come home, I'm so upset. I'm telling him, I'm like, I don't know where I'm going to go, all of these things. And just because this is part of the story, my husband and I are very different people. He's like my calm. All right. And he is very serious. He's very business minded. And so he's listening to me and he goes, don't get excited. And I was like, okay. And by the way, I get excited about everything.
I'm already excited. I got a little chill when you said that. He's got a building or something. He had something up his.
Now, I have been married to this man for I don't know how many years at this point. I've barely been in the office where he works because he works from home. So he only goes there occasionally. So he said, there's a room in the back that we don't use. But his business partner works there in their office. And he said, number one, we have to go look at it and you have to tell me if you think it will work for you. He said, and then number two, Jose has to be okay with you being there. And I'm like,
music and
okay,
stuff.
right? So we go and we look, and it's just this tiny one room office. And I'm like, I can make this work.
Like how tiny? Like how tiny? Like
Gosh, like
a living, like a modest living room, or like a kit, like a
no,
room, like a bedroom, like a little bedroom.
like a bedroom, like even, yes, about a bedroom size. It was not very big.
How many people were going to your boot camp?
Well, the boot camp was ending at that point. So now I just needed somewhere to like train clients because I trained
Okay.
people out there, you know.
Okay. Right. Okay. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, that's okay. That's a good set, get my brain straight where I am. So
Oh, Jose says yes.
Jose says yes. And I open up in this small little room. Now, I start training people one-on-one, and I have some small groups that are coming in there. And then I'm looking, and they have two other rooms across the hallway. And I'm like, why can't I knock down the wall in between these two rooms? So I started to grow. And then I had my admin, Cindy, come on. This was the first person, employee, part of my team that I ever had. So Cindy came on to help me, thank God, because she was part of my organization in the beginning. And then Heather, who is still with me to this day, I asked her to run our run club because I wanted to do more for my clients and I just did not have the bandwidth. I didn't have the time to be able to do all that. So she came on, God bless her. She did it for free in the beginning. I said, listen, these people come for free. I don't charge them. I can't pay you, but will you run it? And she said, yes.
Wait,
So,
hold on. You're going too fast for me.
oh, sorry.
When you say a run club, my only knowledge of that is like Lululemon has a run club where people meet on Saturday and so they do that. Okay, that's your run club. So she was doing that for you, but what do you mean they came for free? Just because the run club was not a paid, but they were paying clients of yours.
They would work out with me during the week, but like they could meet and
You just
go.
wanted to offer more services and things. Okay.
Yes. And that's the thing is that I was booked from 5 a.m. in the morning till 8 p.m. at night. I didn't have time to do a run club or do extra things with people.
So you didn't have trouble because you said it was scary for you to, let me backtrack. You thought about doing this. Your grandmother was like, no, no, no. And also there's not a lot of women that own gyms and fitness facilities. Like it's true. Have you gone to Ursa? It's like a sea of men. And so she's right, and then you said, then when you were holding onto the school teaching and the benefits and the steady paycheck and your parents were like, no, 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 don't give it up. And then you did. So how did you just instantly fill up with clients? You just instantly, your schedule was full?
Well, in 2008, I stopped teaching high school, went and did this full time, and I slowly built. So I already had people that I was training before and after school. And
you
then
had to fill in the middle. And that wasn't hard for you to do?
It took a little while, but word of mouth helped me because people were talking and they would say, oh, I train with Amber. And because now I had all this time, I could get out there. The other thing, Ellen, that I did right was I got a website. And so once I had the website, then I had more people calling and emailing. So that was where I was getting leads from back then.
Cool. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay, carry on.
And so then
you turn on a wall, you have a run club, you're expanding, you're growing.
I'm expanding. I'm bringing on a team. We're starting to have classes. So I opened the brick and mortar in 2016. And then I started in 2017 building my team to come on. And so it just started getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I'll never forget, I took the girls to lunch and I said, listen, I have bigger dreams than just where we are right now. This is just a small room where we are, but we're going to go bigger. I know we are. And at that time, I had no idea how that was going to happen, Ellen, but it happened because in 2020, We all know what happened in 2020. Well, luckily I live in Florida, so we were shut down for a much shorter amount of time. But here's what happened. January of 2020, I was looking to rent a bigger space because we were outgrowing the space pretty quickly. The shutdown happened and I was about to sign the lease. And then I went to them and I said, I cannot in good conscience sign this lease because I have no idea what's going to happen. So Heather and I did everything online. I called her and I said, you have to teach online. And she was like, I don't want to teach online. And I said, I don't care what you want. We have to do this because we have to keep an income coming. So this is what we're going to do. So we would do calls with our people, teach them how to use Zoom. I had already been using Zoom because I was online coaching a couple of people, but buddy, we would get on the phone and we would just say, okay, go press this button, go press this button. So the people who didn't know how to do it, we taught them how to use it. And then we did our classes and our personal training completely online that entire time that we were shut down.
Wow. Did you
Yes.
did you lose clients during that time?
We actually gained clients because unbelievable, because we were doing stuff online. So people were like, I've got to do something. And then for all of our clients, our regular clients, we just loaned out our equipment. So everybody who needed weights, everybody who needed a BOSU ball, whatever it was, we just gave it to them during that time because the gym wasn't open, the studio wasn't open.
Wow, that is
Yes. And
okay.
then
What? The pandemic ends and then what?
well, I find out that we are going to be opening in Florida in May. And so I call the people and I'm like, hey, is that spot still open? They're like, yes. I signed the lease. And then we had a little party, still in the throes of the pandemic, but I have people that still showed up and we moved everything from the old studio to the new studio. Because here's what I knew, Ellen. I knew that if we opened in the old studio and then transitioned everybody to the new studio, they'd complain that it was too far, even though it was less than 2 miles from the old studio. So I was like, we have to open now. Whenever we open, we have to be like, surprise, new studio. So they don't remember going downtown.
Oh, okay. That's so funny.
Yeah.
You pulled the wool over their eyes.
Literally. So we did that. And then we've just continued to grow. My team has grown. The studio has grown. And we just this year in August opened a reformer Pilates studio in conjunction with the fitness studio.
I know. I saw that. I was going to ask you. I figured that would come up, but that's incredible. How many reformers do you have?
We have 6.
And I saw your Stop Pilates as your education. Yeah.
Yes. So, and it's so funny how all of these things just set up to set me up to go this way because I got my Pilates certification, my Stop Pilates mat and reformer back in 2008, 2009. And I stopped using it for a long time. And then I'm like, we really don't have a lot of Pilates studios here in Ocala. Why am I not adding this as part of our offerings?
Brilliant. So brilliant. So you have a dedicated space inside the Training Toole with the 6 reformers, like a separate space.
Yeah, we actually rented a second space in the same, it's like a plaza that we're in. And so we're just 4 doors down.
Oh, okay. Oh my goodness.
It's crazy.
So exciting. I feel like you in this whole story that you're sharing, your story about seeing your dreams come to fruition and relating to that myself because I'm different business, different story, but same kind of dream chaser. And I often think about what if I didn't go for it? Like, what if I just didn't bet on myself? Because I certainly was gripped by fear and uncertainty and doubt. And like you said, resources, support, some of those obstacles. But, something inside of me was willing to just put myself out there and keep going and keep believing and keep dreaming. And when obstacles would come up to figure out how to get over them or around them or through them or break them down. And I often just think like, what if I didn't? And the other thing I think that people, maybe some of our listeners, I thought this too, like, oh, that's the dreams I have, they're for someone else, like not me. And to just overcome that kind of chatter and and fear and uncertainty, and and be willing to just put yourself out there and chase the damn thing. I mean, that's what this episode is about. So listeners, that's really what Amber's story is about, is chasing your dream, like going for it. And so I'm loving your story. I didn't know any of this other than the little, like, I saw when you got the reformers and all that stuff. But okay, so is that, have you brought us up to speed with today, or are there still more pieces in developing this training tool?
Well, that is the thing. I have a really, really super big dream that's out there. It's a really big one. And now seeing where I came from and where I've been able to get to, that seems so much more doable. It's just learning the steps as you go. And I'm sure that you can talk on this as well, Ellen, because every level that you go to, you have to fail and you have to learn lessons and you have to learn techniques and things that are going to push you to the next level. So for most of us, we can't go from the base to the top. Like there's a climbing there. You have to go up that ladder because there are lessons that you have to learn. There are things that you have to learn so that you can succeed at that level and then move up to the next one.
It's true. It's
Yeah.
like the little education that you have to receive with each step to be able to do it. So I thought your big dream was having this studio up and running.
It is. The big dream would be to have an entire facility where people would come and their health is all taken care of in one space. So you would come in and you would have us for fitness and nutrition coaching. You would have the option for Pilates, mobility. We would have massage therapists, physical therapists, and people like I would love to have a kitchen where healthy meals were prepared and then people could get that. So I'd love for it to be just a full service
Oh,
health facility.
oh, that is so beautiful. Well, yeah, you're on your way there. I see all the nutrition stuff you're already doing. And it's funny when you started talking about reformers, that is such a therapeutic tool. And so bringing on physical therapy, I had a cervical fusion of my neck in 2009. And after the operation, for my physical therapist, she rehabbed me for a year using a reformer and just teaching me how to connect to my core, my transverses. I couldn't turn it on. She's like, she would like put her fingers like, kind of in the inside of my hip bones, like, and she'd ask me to turn my transversus on and she'd be like, nope, that's your obliques. Try again. Anyway, she really taught me how, using the reformer, how to rehabilitate my spine. And so anyway, that's amazing that what you're going through the almost holistic whole health and wellness offering. I think that's incredible. Incredible. I mean, it's already happening, minus what? The physical therapists and
Massage therapists
massage
but
therapists.
I have a business friend who we talk these big dreams every time I see her because she has the massage and the esthetician part, and so we've talked a lot about partnering up and being in one building. That would be amazing.
And I think there is a big separation sometimes between gyms and medicine. And it's beautiful to try to bridge that gap in
We
one
should,
facility, one stop shop.
we
And the
should be.
food and nutrition is part of that. I mean, that's medicine. Movement and food are medicine number one.
Yep. We would be so much healthier as a society we could do that, if we could get that across to people, which is what you and I and all of our friends in the fitness industry are trying to do. But also if we could just partner with the medical side, if we could just get them I don't understand why when you go to a doctor and let's say they tell you you need to lose weight, why they don't automatically refer you to a registered dietitian. I don't understand that at
Oh,
all.
don't get me started, but it's just not like nutrition isn't something that I think our Western doctors are necessarily focused on in their education. And, I think I don't know, I'm very interested in functional nutrition and functional medicine and alternative approaches. Not that there isn't a need for Western medicine and an antibiotic or a surgery or something like that sometimes, but yeah, that's a whole nother, that's a whole nother soapbox. But
Absolutely.
so I have another question for you. Are you you're super good at marketing and I love I just you're really good at it. And you talked about you got your degree, your degree really was in education and not business. And you're very good at marketing. Did you teach yourself how to market? Did you teach yourself how to do all that? Sales and
Yes
marketing?
and no. So let's talk about, so this is really where I want to give your listeners some tips. So if you are somebody out there who has this big dream and you really want to go for it. And by the way, before I get started on my tips for that, I want to say, if you heard Ellen earlier say, she knew in her heart, inside her, that she needed to do this with her business. I knew in my heart that I needed to do this. It was a calling. There was no question for me. I don't know if you feel that way too, Ellen, that this was what I was meant to do, and I was meant to do something bigger than what I was doing. So if you have that, you need to listen to it. And yes, you're going to be afraid. Yes, you're going to fail, but there's so much you can do to set yourself up for success. For sure.
I don't know. Yes. Part of it is I don't even know how to say this without, I hope this doesn't come across as arrogant by any stretch, but I've always felt like even when I was like a little girl, I was meant for more. I'm meant for a life. I'm meant to live a life that is deep in purpose, that serves the world in some meaningful, profoundly meaningful way. And it's just something, it's a belief that has been there. And I wonder sometimes, does everyone have that? Does everyone have that? A question for a hypothetical question for our audience, since they can't unmute and answer, but if you have it, you do. If you have it, you do. So anyway, give us your tips.
Yeah, you can't quiet that. You can't quiet that voice, and you can't shut that heart down. It gets louder and louder and louder, and there's such a push. So if this is you, listeners, and you're like, okay, Ellen, Amber, I hear you. I want to burst my heart open and spread it throughout the world. So here's what I would suggest. I have just a list of 7 things, and I am going to talk about the marketing, so I'm not skirting around Ellen's question. But if you're dreaming big, start small. So think about what you can do now to maybe make money without necessarily incurring a debt. So for me, I started out, I had my vehicle, I had the equipment that I had bought over time, and I just went to people's homes. So it was just my gas, my insurance, my vehicle, right? So very small amount, no debt as far as that was concerned. So how can you start small and get the income and start to build the base of your business? And also, you may not know where you're going to go. Remember, I said, I did not think I was ever going to have a brick and mortar studio, but look at me now. So you may have that idea, or maybe you don't yet, and that's okay. Just start with that foundation. Then from there, how can you build yourself to be better at what you do? So Is that education? Is that hiring a coach? What is it that you need to do? Where are your weaknesses? Maybe you need to start thinking about bringing somebody on to help you where you are weak. That's something that my husband taught me. He said, don't surround yourself with people who aren't as good as you are. You want to surround yourself with people who are better than you are and smarter than you are and are strong where you are weak. And that's something you have to let your ego go, and I'm sure you can attest to this, Ellen, because you have a huge team. You have to have those people who are supportive and can help you, because you can't do it all by yourself. You're going to do it all by yourself in the beginning, and then you're going to realize that you can't keep that pace up. So once you can build yourself up, you also want to think about how you can become a leader. Because if you are going to have a business, if you are going to dream big and do something bigger than yourself and what you are going to have to be a positive and impactful and a supportive leader. And that needs to be something that you work on, because nobody wants to work for somebody who hasn't worked on themselves. So make sure that you do that personal development and that you learn how to run a team and be a good leader. That's something I work on all the time. Communication is a big part of that. Huge, huge. You got to be a good communicator. And then you're going to, from building yourself, start to add on and build your team. Who are the players that you need to add that are going to support your business and help you to grow that? And sometimes that's also learning experiences. Sometimes that's failing. I've been so blessed to have so many amazing people come onto my team, and people like Heather who are still with me. And even Cindy, my first admin, she doesn't work with me anymore because her life changed, but she helped me to grow. And then I got another admin, Liz, who helped me to grow even bigger. And now my current admin, Kelsey, who is helping us to organize even better. And that's something that from the start, if I can tell you anything, organize yourself, get systems in place, have some type of a lead tracker, have a KPI, your key performance indicators, start tracking your money, know what's coming in, know what's going out. I wish I had all of that from the beginning, but I didn't know how to do that back then. So now I only have a couple of years I can look back. Then don't wait. I know it's expensive, but there are ways to find out that you have really good ones. Hire a business coach. I was so lucky to, originally I started with Alicia Strager, who is amazing, and she's a wonderful person. I went through her FPA program, Fit Pro Accelerator. That gave me the foundation of the systems in my business. From there, I went with Lisa Keeker of Studio Grow, and she and her team really helped me to go to the next level with learning like Google ads and Facebook ads. That's where this marketing is coming in. So I learned these things through business coaches, and then I have taken and just, put my own spin on a lot of it. But I would not know the marketing things that I know now had I not been through those two programs. And then our wonderful friend, Brandy from Standout Fit Pro, she's an amazing business coach, also very helpful for that marketing. We know Brandy through SCW, and she's a good friend of mine, and I would hire her in a minute because she's amazing. She's awesome for online business coaches or online coaches. She's the online business coach. And then learn marketing. So here was your question. Yes, I learned marketing through my business coaches. And when it comes down to it, I am not afraid to be on camera. You stick a camera in my face and I smile and I go for it, right? I can talk very easily on camera. I don't have an issue with that, but so many people will not film themselves or don't want to be on camera. They don't want to do this. And the thing about it is, with the society that we live in, you have got to have an online presence. You've got to have a website. You've got to have an up-to-date LinkedIn profile. You need to be putting things on where your clients are. So my clientele mostly is on Facebook and Instagram. And I can tell you that when I am consistent and I'm posting, when I show people the inside of the studio, when I do crazy things, that gets our name out there, and then it it gets people to like you and to see what you're doing. And people just want to be entertained. So if you're somebody who's funny, you need to do funny entertainment stuff. But showing people what they can expect when they work with you is very, very important in that marketing. And so definitely that's something that I'm glad that I had those coaches that helped me with that, because that's helped to take us to the next level for sure.
Did they help you also with like your incredible niching down? Because you just work with like women over 40 mostly, right? Like you have a definite target niche.
Yes, so that was something that I learned when I went through my first with FPA with Alicia, is they really have you map out who your ideal client is. And I do have to say this, it's funny because you're going to see that if you look at any of my marketing, if you look at any of our videos and things like that, and all of the stuff that I put out there, it's over 40 females. But we also have a lot of men who come to us. Many of them are husbands of our clients. And we also have some kids that come in, some athletes that work with some of my different trainers. And that's the other thing. I do really well with the over 40 female. I can train anybody, but that was my biggest group. And I now, as a menopausal female, I feel like I can really train somebody who's peri and postmenopausal. But you know, I still have my hands in other things. Like I can help males who want to have better health. You know, there are people that I don't want to work with. I'm not going to work with bodybuilders. I'm not going to work with females who want to be in a show. You know, I did a show, 2 shows like a long time ago, and that's not my jam. I don't like that. And so, you know, that's the thing. Even though we have these other outliers, our main people are going to be our over 40 females. So yes.
Yeah. It's just so important to find that who your niche and who your target is, because then when they're your people, they're really your people. Like your business is very attractive to them, and or they have extreme FOMO if they're not doing part of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like you will see this on our social media. You know, and I don't mean this in any kind of a negative way. We're just your regular people. You know, you're not this. I always say you're not coming into my studio and there's a bunch of like 20-year-olds running around with their shirts off and their
Right.
sports bras on and their hot little bodies. Nothing wrong with that, because I used to be that a long time ago. But I've evolved and I've changed. And so when you come in, our focus is your health and your fitness. Yes, aesthetics are a big thing. I work out for aesthetics. I'm not saying that that's something that we don't do, but you're not going to be intimidated if you come there and maybe you have a few extra pounds and you don't feel confident in your body yet.
Ugh, that's incredible. Thank you for those tips. Oh my goodness, so much there. I need you in my life. Like some of those, I'm like I'm still on some of those rungs of the ladder, like needing to like outsource and get more help and some of those things. I could really benefit from some of your tips. That's all I'm saying.
You need to be your business coach, Ellen.
Really might need to mastermind with you, okay? I might need some of those names again.
I've got it for you. No, but you do a beautiful job. And I love your videos. That's what, and see, this is something that also we should talk about when we're talking about marketing. I do everything on my cell phone. Okay. And so I edit stuff on my cell phone. I film everything on my cell phone. And then you have this whole big production and everything is beautiful. And you've got all these angles. And I'm always so jealous of that in a good way. Right.
No, that's so funny because you brought that up to me. That's actually what I was going to like put a pin in that. I'm going to circle back to that. That's what I was going to talk about is you came up to me at one of the recent cities. I never know where we were. I'm always like, whatever city we were just recently in. And you were like, oh, I think it was in Dallas. Were we in Dallas together, sitting in the presenter lounge, maybe talking about stuff like this? And you're like, I brought you up in a panel today. And Diva's calling me. I had to dismiss. I brought you up in panel today about how you do your marketing and stuff. And it's so like polished and professional and stuff. And when you said that, I was like, it is. And then I was like, oh, I guess it probably does seem like that. But it's not like my behind the scenes are not like my stories are just like my real, like, this is just as raw and real as the back, the bird's eye view of my life, and animals and stuff like that. But you're right. I do have, I mean, it's because we produce 12, professionally produced lessons per year. So I get the associated content with all that. And then I have Mary, who you've probably met. I have a photographer. I call her my paparazzi. She comes with me everywhere. If I'm doing a training, she'll come. We're friends, we're friends. She's my photographer. So I do get a lot of professional assets. So that's true. I do get a lot of, but it is what I do like about my marketing is that it's the real people. It's not like supermodels, or it's really us. It's our real instructors and real bodies. And I like that. And I do have a lot of raw, Amber. I do have a lot of like raw, unprofessional stuff that I share too. But yeah, but Mary has a gimbal, like a big Mac Daddy gimbal, that holds your camera and like, so that she can move around and the camera like does these cool, I'm moving my hand. I know unless you're watching on YouTube, you can't see what I'm doing, but the gimbal keeps the camera steady as it moves through really cool angles. And so we also have this beautiful mind body studio at one of the clubs that I work at. So sometimes if I'm writing new choreography, I'll text her and I'll be like, bring the daddy gimbal today. And after class, I'm going to go do a little flow. So that probably looks a little bit professional, but it's not. I like unprofessional stuff is my point. My point is I like it raw. It's interesting.
Well, baby, I like it raw. Now you got me singing 90s.
Do you follow Brock Johnson? He does lots of tips and stuff on Instagram. And he recently said or showed and had the stats and analytics to back it up that the like highly curated videos don't perform as well as those just like raw iPhone type videos. So, and that's true. I mean, that's true. So
yeah. But my point was like, if you don't have the money for like a whole professional shoot, it's no big deal. Just use your cell phone.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the Johnson family, I don't know, Chalene Johnson, do you know who Chalene is, right?
I know who she is. Yeah.
Okay. Like she won infomercial of the year for Pio many years ago, and she filmed the whole thing on her iPhone and nobody knew it. Whole thing, iPhone. Infomercial of the year. So yeah, it doesn't have to be, it does not have to be expensive or fancy. It just meaningful.
Yes. And I think just showing like real life, like you said, and I do see your non-curated stuff.
Okay, good. Because what I don't like, sorry, we digress, and then I'll have you recap, but I don't personally care for, no shade, if this is your account and you're listening, I personally don't care for the perfectly polishy accounts that have like color patterns and a quote every other, like that they're so neat and perfect just because I'm not very type A. I mean, I am a little type A, but I don't know. I like it messy. I like it a little bit messy. And so when you said that, I was like, wait a minute, my account's not like that. But then I was like, oh, maybe it is a little bit. Anyway, we digress. But those were great tips. And I really need, that was very valuable, actually, even to me. So thank you for sharing. Will you recap them all for us?
Sure. So just remember, with your big dream, you're going to start small. What can you do with no debt? How can you build yourself first and become an amazing leader to a team that you are going to create? How can you get organized, and what systems do you need? Do you need to hire a business coach? Yes, you do. And learn marketing so that you can get more leads and have a successful business. I would also add to that with the marketing, learn to become a good salesperson. So most of the time, fitness professionals, we are lovers of people. We want to help. We're helpers. and we are like, oh, I don't want to ask you for money. We tend to not be great salespeople, and you don't have to be a slimy salesperson, but you have to sell you. And you have to sell the person's dream and what they want and how you're going to help them get there.
Yeah. That's good. Speaking of lead funnels, I want to hear about this retreat situation that you have cooking in the back of your little mind.
Oh, well, coming up in January, it's looking like we are going to have a retreat, and it's content creation. And what I mean by that is not necessarily just content for, your social media. It will be, but what I have found with presenting and working with other fitness professionals is so many of them don't know or don't have the time to put a program together to be able to bring in more leads who turn into long-term clients. So for the weekend, you will come and spend a weekend with myself and Heather. And we will cook delicious, healthy food for you over the weekend. And then it's a whole weekend to help you create your lead magnet, your challenge, and then the program that you're going to offer. We will film the content over the weekend so that you actually leave with everything done and you go home and you can start that process and then sell your next program to get more people in. You could do this in a brick and mortar, or you can do it as an online coach. So it'll be super fun. And I love to help other fitness professionals take it up to the next level. Because I've had people help me, I want to help others. But this is a great weekend. So it's a whole weekend for you to get away, because if you're in the middle of training people and trying to create things, it doesn't always work like that. So this gives you 3 days away from your business to work on something that's actually going to help grow your business.
And is it in Florida? It's in Florida.
Yes. I'm looking at Jacksonville. So it's an easy place to fly into, and we'll be on the beach. So that's the other thing, is bringing in some of that relaxation. So we work hard and then we go and we head out and do, like a little walk on the beach to recover and let your brain rest. And then you come back and do some more work.
I want to come. I want to come.
I want you to come.
I want to come. I want to come to Florida and work on my lead funnel. I do. That's so fun. Will you give us can listeners come? Are you looking, can listeners of the show, can you give us the information? I can add it to the show notes when you have it. Do you have all the information? It sounds like you're still looking for the venue.
So we are still looking for the venue. And actually, I sent you the link for the opt-in. If people want to keep up with it, I'll send you an email and let you know as soon as we get we have the dates already, but as soon as we secure the spot.
Okay, perfect. That's so exciting. It reminds me of is it Marie Folio? Does she do stuff like that? Or
oh
no, that's so cool. I would love to do that. Oh, so fun. Thank you so much for coming on. I almost forgot you owe us a confession.
No, so Ellen, I have listened to some of your shows, but I want to know, what show do I need to listen to hear your confession?
I have given some confessions.
Okay.
Sometimes they're just minor. I don't know that I've dropped any major bombs, but yeah, my solo episodes, I unless I've forgotten, which has happened before, I try to give a little confession.
Well, I have a couple of confessions. One thing is, I'm pretty open about, I'm a crazy person. And one of the things that I want people to know in life is that you're not alone. Like, even the things that you're like, oh my gosh, this is so terrible that I did this, whatever. Most of the time, we all have done something that we're embarrassed about or whatever. But I'm going to give you two. All right. All right. So one is, I don't know, I was a beauty queen. And so I used to always say that before I was a hot, sweaty gym girl, but wait a minute, I'm going to circle back to that. Before I was a hot, sweaty gym girl, I was actually a beauty queen. And when I said hot, sweaty gym girl, what I meant was hot, like hot temperature and sweaty. And then years later, I realized that people might have thought I was calling myself hot. And so I was like, oh my gosh, how embarrassing. You know, I always say something ridiculous. And then I'm like, I hope they understood my actual meaning behind that. But I was Miss Vidalia Onion 1998. Vidalia is the little town that I'm from, and we're famous for sweet onions. So I am a sweet onion queen.
Oh my goodness. That is so, how did they pick you? Did you have to was it like a pageant? Is it like, you had to put yourself out there and then do people vote? How does that work?
So this is probably
Apparently I know nothing about beauty pageants and beauty queens.
This is why I'm really great in interviews and I'm not afraid of a camera, because I've had to stand on a stage in front of judges as well as a crowd of people and, answer questions off the cuff. But what Miss Vidalia Onion is the smaller pageant in my town. So it was an evening gown that you have to come out and you have to be poised and you have to turn a certain way and look and do all these things. And then we also had sportswear. So you would come out and be fancy and prance. Yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
If you got chosen to be in the top 5, then you got a random question on stage that they ask you.
Oh, it's interesting that being articulate and having poise and composure and speaking abilities relates to the beauty pageant lifestyle. It's cool.
Oh yeah. And when you do an interview before you do the pageant that night. And so it's just you standing in a room in a nice outfit and heels, just standing, and there's a table of 4 to 6 judges, and they're just asking you questions and you're having to answer them. And so as far as interviewing, oh my gosh, that set me up. I mean, I'm never afraid. I don't have to interview for jobs now, but if I did, in the past, it was never really a problem.
You're the boss now. You chased your dreams.
That's right. And then my other confession that I'm going to tell you, everybody thinks that we're so healthy as fitness professionals, and I am, and my life has grown a lot. But if you left me to my own devices,
yes,
would eat Reese cups and Chick-fil-A and McDonald's French fries. I love junk food. I never eat that stuff hardly ever because I eat a healthy diet now. And if I do, it makes me not feel my best. But yeah, I could be lazy and just sit on the couch and eat popcorn and Reese cups all day.
Same. I mean, I don't know if I speak for myself or everyone listening, but part of the reason I think I shouldn't overgeneralize. I'm sure it's not everybody, but I think a lot of people, definitely me included, get into this profession because I need to help myself. It's accountability for myself. But I have a history of struggling with eating disorder and binging and stuff like that. But I think that's good for people to know about us and our different proclivities. And yes, I would definitely, for me, it would be pizza. Pizza, cereal. Those are foods I would love. French fries. Yeah. I cut things out of my life and then I'm just done. So I remember, I was overweight as a high schooler and stuff. And, I remember just cutting out fast food and have never done it again. Cutting out diet soda, never done it again. Just cut things out, never do them again. But so my version of fast food today is if I'm in a hurry and I need something and I'm traveling or something, my idea of fast food is Starbucks, egg roasted, red pepper egg bites. I love those.
That's not even that bad. I think those are
not bad. No, I know it's not bad. No, I don't think it's bad at all. No, it's not. But
I think they're 190 calories if I remember correctly. But yeah, of all the things you could eat at Starbucks, that's a good choice.
Yeah. That's true.
Some protein.
I just loved having you on. Thank you so much. And you do your own podcast, but you podcast with your friend Heather that you keep mentioning, right? And you interview your own students and members, correct? And clients, right?
Well, she and I really come on. We talk about all kinds of health topics. We talk a lot about fitness, nutrition. We tell funny stories about our clients. Obviously, we don't tell their names, and we ask them.
Oh, you don't interview them. You talk about them.
We talk about them.
Love it.
Yeah,
I see. Oh, that's so fun.
it is. It's super fun.
What's the name of your show?
The name of the show is Toole Talk.
Oh,
yeah.
Toole, presumably, which is
Yeah.
how you spell Amber's last name. So speaking of, where can they find you and follow
Oh my gosh. I am all over the place. So you just look up the Training Toole with an E, and I'm on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, TikTok. And also, if you are a Fit Pro, I do have a special Amber Toole Fit Pro Mentor, Fitness Pro Mentor and Educator on Facebook. So that's specifically for Fit Pros. So you can find me on there too.
Well, we'll put all those links because you already gave them to me. We'll put all those links in the show notes. Speaking of your point earlier about being organized, I asked Amber, we've been trying to do this podcast and arrange it for quite some time, but we didn't really get our shit together until I don't know, 10 minutes before coming on today. So I shoot her this quick email. I'm like, oh, can I get a headshot, all your profile, all your links and all your bio and stuff like that? And a second later, she sends it all back. But I was like, when you started talking about organization, I was like, she had all that stuff ready to go. That was all in a note somewhere, Google Drive, or that was all somewhere because she just copied and pasted and had everything like that. So anyway, we digress, but all that information, including this Jacksonville retreat, content curation and lead magnet stuff, we will put in the show notes as well. So thank you, Amber, so much for spending time with me in this amazing group.
Yes, thank you, Ellen. You know what? I just love you. I love following you on social media. And it was really an honor that you asked me to be on your podcast. I so appreciate you. And you are just the cutest.
Thank you. And wait, we have to end with this. Cheers to us and to everyone listening who has chased their dreams, who is chasing their dreams, living their dreams. It takes so much courage and so much inner strength. And I love the topic of this episode, and I hope it's really impactful to our listeners. So thank you, and cheers to all of us.
Yeah, cheers. Thanks, Ellen. And thanks, listeners.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you for joining in on the Confessions of a Group X Instructor podcast. If you're interested in becoming a warrior instructor, go to warriorinstructors.com. But if you want more and found this episode amazing, please give us a rating. And with a simple click to subscribe, we'll invite you back to our next episode. So remember, be brave, be bold, be blessed. And above all, listen, learn, love.